Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Planning and Scheduling Solutions. Uh, this is going to be my first introductory sessions. We're going to talk about um, the how we can prepare for making a project schedule. Um, so, what I am trying to explain to you that without going straight away to create a schedule by using Primavera Basics and the importance of understanding the context, scheduling context, and your preparation uh, to build up your project schedule in a more realistic manner. Right. Let's crack it on. I think you're in the right place and to talk about more on scheduling stuff, and I hope you'll uh, enjoy and hope you learn something from this video. All right, okay, let's look at the some of the insights and um, throughout this beginning course for Primavera, and I'm going to talk um, under two sections. So one part is scheduling part, and the other one is the planning part. So scheduling, yes, it's quite straightforward, and then you know what to do and what you need, and you just be prepared yourself to do that. But the main important element um, that we need to understand beforehand is the planning part of it, which is your uh, thought process, your perception, your understanding, your knowledge about scheduling, your knowledge about project management, your knowledge about engineering disciplines and all these other various uh, knowledge areas. So it's very important for you to understand uh, the context, the scheduling context, and before you go and create your schedule. Yes, it's very obvious. You have the right tool, and not only Primavera, and there are so many scheduling softwares available today, and it's pretty much uh, uh, straightforward, and it's pretty easy. And once you know the software and you're just getting into it and you're just creating your schedule um, with the features available in the software. But the main important part is that you you understanding about the context behind your scheduling activities. So that's the main part, and to be a successful planner or a successful scheduler, and uh, your knowledge, your thinking, your perception is very important. So uh, scheduling, uh, we're going to talk about these topics. I have not listed all the sub items here, but if you run through these, the main headings, pretty much we gonna cover everything else that you need to know about Primavera P6 to create project schedule. Um, Starting from establishing the scheduling context, understanding the prerequisites for schedule preparation, and and then you can move into the schedule preparation part of it, and resource assignments, baselining, schedule review, progress updates, analysis, and reporting. So that's the main topic that we are going to cover, but there are so many subheadings, subtopics under these headings, so which we'll talk about throughout the course. And then finally, I'll give you a bit of insight about uh, what is the planning process. So, uh, what are the roles and responsibility of a planning engineer? Fundamental requirement for planning, understanding the project controls environment, um, project control procedures. Uh, so some knowledge about contract administration related to project controls, and another main uh, topic is that the project risk management, how you're going to incorporate your understanding about project risk and incorporate those elements into your uh, scheduling task and managing your project risk, and keep up to date tracking of the behavior of risk, and the uh, and the assessment of the impacts, and then recommending uh, some sort of uh, mitigations, yeah, in terms of uh, time and also cost. So uh, uh, delay analysis is a extremely complex subject, but it's sometimes, yeah. So there are expertise who does these um, delay analysis stuff, but in most of the project you should have some knowledge about the, the construction delay analysis, and it covers uh, various segments under delay analysis. So different techniques, different methods, different protocols, different guidelines, and yeah, it's really complicated. And but most of the project, it becomes as an integral part of your project controls, your planning activities. So you need to have some sort of knowledge about what are those different techniques that are currently being used in the industry today for delay analysis. All right, just be brief introduction about how scheduling and planning works together, and what are the main elements under these two topics. All right, let's yeah. This is something similar to what I explained in the previous slides, but if you just quickly look at those two terminologies: planning, the process of planning primarily deals with selecting the appropriate policies, procedures, and creating the project actions controls plan in order to achieve the objectives of the project. So once you set it up, your your plan, your uh, the way forward, your thought process, your understanding about all these different knowledge areas, and you put these things together, and then scheduling is the task that it brings up to some sort of a graphical ref, um, reflection, or the graphical representation about what you initially thought about your project and how you're going to manage. And yeah, everything is listed, everything is in your mind, everything is there, but and how does it comes to a nice and clear graphics that you can everybody can clearly see, and 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 to understand how the project activities and project requirements are changing and behaving. So that's the main difference between planning and scheduling. So right, okay. So there are different scheduling tools that we're using um, today in the industry, but the most popular, or what how would I call the most I would say it's the uh, most appropriate, or most suitable scheduling software for managing complex projects. I wouldn't say that MS Project is not going to be one of it. And but yeah, but based on my experience and by looking at the user interfaces that we have, the flexibility and the transparency that we have with project data, and when we operate the software, and the flexibility and the uh, the the boundaries we have for managing our project data, I I would rather go for Primavera and other than any other softwares in the industry today. So our primary targeting this in this beginner course is just to talk about Primavera P6, just to create uh, your project schedule, and then how you're going to manage it, and then uh, create your reports and so many other analysis that you can do. All right, so uh, okay, let's move to the next slide. All right, as I talked to you before in one of the previous slides, so understanding, establishing the scheduling context is more important than uh, just you jumping into Primavera and just start creating a schedule. So what is the context? And so context refers to the overall framework or the environment in which project scheduling activities take place. So that involves understanding the various factors, constraints, considerations, the impact uh, uh, that that impact the development and maintenance of project schedule. So there are there are various elements that we can talk about under scheduling context. Uh, these are the uh, primary ones, but uh, there is no limitations. But at least as a minimum, you should uh, establish uh, these elements within your scheduling context. And once you set these things up and you have a very clear idea, or you have a very clear path to approach uh, to create your project in more realistic manner. So uh, okay, what are those? Just quickly look through these items, and yeah, understanding your project objectives and scope. So without knowing your scope or without knowing your project objectives, you can't achieve, you can't create a good schedule, or you can't create a realistic schedule. Uh, Stakeholder expectations. That's very important. It understanding the stakeholders' expectation, their influence level is very, very important, because it brings up uh, the overall clarity or the integrity that we are expecting in a schedule. Because once we create the schedule and then it becomes the project baseline, and then every single party who involved in that project should be able to talk about uh, any project related issues based on your baseline program, and that's going to be the heart, and that's going to be the key for any 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 project. So you need to incorporate all these stakeholders expectations and the requirements. So and then only you can talk uh, about project issues, and to answer those issues in terms of uh, scheduling. Um, um, yeah, so uh, and uh, it gives us the opportunity to prioritize your scheduling activities or your project activities. So that's very important. So uh, resource availability, uh, it depends on where you work or where your project is happening, and what are those types of resources, what are the limitations, and what are the productivity levels, especially for uh, the skilled labor categories, unskilled labor categories, and so on, and also the availability of material resources. And so understanding that nature is really important. Uh, and the budgetary constraints, and obviously uh, you have your bill of quantities and other uh, mm, financial constraints consideration, then you need to consider, especially when you do a proper schedule with proper resource loaded, cost loaded schedule, then you need to understand about your budgetary constraints, and you need to align these with uh, your available or your given project budget, and uh, so you need to focus on all these financial resources and to come up with a really mm, uh, good or workable or realistic project schedule. Risk management, uh, most important, and the that's how the level of understanding that you have for risk management. That's where uh, then you can have a good uh, contingency plans for your schedule. Uh, Managing risk from right from the beginning of the project to the end of the projects, and uh, at the beginning of the project is uh, the the level of risk or uh, uncertainty is very high, whereas as we move on the time being, and that becomes getting uh, the level of risk exposure will become low. But um, uh, you need to understand the risk identification, how you're going to identify the risk, and how you're going to evaluate the risk, analyze the risk, and prioritize risk, uh, and then how you're going to manage uh, uh, your mitigation plans and all. Yeah, you should be able to answer uh, for those risk elements uh, by looking at your project schedule, especially your baseline program and your schedule updates. Uh, Regulatory and compliance requirements. Some projects may need to adhere to specific regulation standards or compliance requirements. These constraints should be considered when creating the project schedule, because it really depends on which client basically you are working with, or which part of the world you're working with, and these regulations, compliances are really uh, changing in place to place or client to client, and so um, these regulations, policies, and procedures give a bit of uh, have some sort of a control on schedule, because we can't go beyond these ones, and we need to stick to those compliances and regulations when you create schedules, especially when you plan your timeline, when you create your activity durations and so on. Uh, you need to understand these specific regulations, standards, and compliance uh, uh, related to your project environment, and the dependencies. So dependencies, that is another key element that we need to focus on. Understanding the dependencies between activities. If you're managing a single project, that's really important. That's how we can come up with more accurate scheduling. If the dependencies doesn't work properly, and we're never gonna get accurate scheduling. And if you're working on multiple projects, uh, so it's very important for you to understand about dependencies between the projects. and the project life cycle. And uh, there are different phases in project life cycle. There are so it's important for you to understand your project is currently sitting with which phase in the life cycle. So it could be it could be in the planning, it could be in the concept design, it could be in the design, detail design stage of the procurement, uh, or in delivery, or in could be in project closer. So it's really important to understand how the project life cycle is working, and that uh, the the sequence or uh, the fundamental uh, characteristics of those project phases of project life cycle are to be incorporated into your project schedule. Uh, mm, uh, that will really uh, give a bit of flexibility for all the stakeholders to look into the schedule and to get a feel about uh, what decisions or what actions to be taken at any given point of time, or when you're facing issues with your project. Communication and collaboration, and effective communication and collaboration among team members and stakeholders are essential. Clear communication channels and collaboration tools can facilitate the scheduling process, because you have your own knowledge, you know all the techniques, you know how to do proper scheduling, but uh, once everything is done, but then how are you going to manage it? And you will need a massive data to manage or monitor your project schedule, and your track your progress, your variance analysis, your delay analysis, and sort of. But uh, and 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 other scheduling activities, you need a massive information coming through different stakeholders, different key stakeholders. So the communication and collaboration is very important, and that's the key for managing information. Project management methodology. Different projects use different project management methodologies. Uh, as you know from project management guidelines, practices, and there are different project management methodologies, and you need to understand which project management methodology is applicable for you to your project. Whether it is could be agile, could be a waterfall, could be something else, and because it's really impact the approach to your scheduling uh, practice, because different methodologies may have some distinct ways of handling scheduling activities. So it's really important for you to understand the project management method. So uh, uh, this is the last but not least, uh, uh, scheduling context uh, is something that you should uh, have a clear mind about what's need to be done, or what you should have before you go and create your schedule. So understanding the environment that's sitting beyond or above your scheduling practice or scheduling activities. So that's basically establishing scheduling context. So all right, so next one. Okay, so once you have an idea about your scheduling context, and then you can further dig into your details, you can further dig into your specific project, and then you can collect the information you need. You can drag more information from different sources, and so once you get into that phase and what data you have, so what just um, just forget about Primavera for a while. I mean, when you are sitting somewhere or in a project as a planner or planning engineer, that uh, when you are in a situation where you have to create a project schedule or your baseline program, and what are the things that comes to your mind all of a sudden, and it's just not Primavera or not MS Project. And uh, what it comes to my mind is that, so what information I should have and what I'm going to do, and uh, in short form, and what I'm going to do, what is my project. So all right, so you have your contract data, you have a detailed project scope, your finance data, we have stakeholder interfaces, information about your stakeholder interfaces, supply chain information, law and legislations, weather patterns, working hours, and other specific authority requirements. So that all, if you run through your contract documents, your tender documents, your BOQs, your drawings, and everything, and you can nicely, you can clearly summarize your data, what you need, and then slowly you can just jump another step, and you can start now thinking about slightly towards to Primavera and creating your the main skeleton, your breakdown structure, and that's the point you actually you are starting uh, to use Primavera. But before that, you should have uh, you should have done a lot about gathering information and understanding the context and all. So once you have these project details, and then the next step is the uh, create the information you need. The information you had in the left side, you can't create this, and it's just available for you. And in the items in list in your right hand side, that's the one you're going to create, and that's the one you make it by yourself as a planning engineer to create your project schedule. So your work breakdown structure, your list of activities, uh, your activity durations, your logical activity sequence, appropriate relationships between activities, and resource breakdown structures, resource assignments, and so on. There are so many. It's just a listing a few of those, but these are not the all that we need to do. But when you run through uh, your course in my coming videos, and you will understand that there are many more than what we have listed here. But just to give you a bit of insight about how these project details and uh, looks like, and then how we can transfer this into a project schedule. So that's where we need the scheduling tool. So our scheduling tool is Primavera. So this is the point where actually we are starting to use Primavera. Just quickly look at it, how this Primavera P6. There are plenty of versions available today. Primavera P6 comes in different platforms. I would say it's different way of using it. The most popular one is Primavera P6 Professional. This is a standalone version. I mean, you need to have a standalone computer desktop to run the program. So you're very isolated. You're not linked with any other source. I just have your own environment, your database, and just just can work. But nowadays in the market, so there are so many other versions available for Primavera. Like it actually uh, work with so many cloud basis environments. So Primavera P6 EPPM, Enterprise uh, Project Portfolio Management EPPM, is one of the most popular one today, especially for managing complex projects, programs, and portfolios. Uh, but for our purpose, Primavera P6 Professional is more than enough. As I talked to you before, why uh, I chose Primavera and why I really like the software. and why Primavera is standing out of the crowd. And so uh, this is why. Uh, First thing is uh, P6 is ideal or prominent for its advanced project scheduling capabilities. Um, so the other one is uh, this software is enable uh, efficient management of project resources. Uh, it's Primavera gives us a good platform to do our resource management part uh, and also to manage complex projects using Primavera Basics, portfolio management, cost management. Uh, it's a really good tool for tracking project cost, budgeting, and forecasting. Risk management. Primavera has its own feature for identifying, assessing, and managing project risk. Collaboration and communication, because uh, we can use Primavera uh, to collaborate among different project teams. Uh, we can create a centralized platform for sharing project data and documents. That's where we have this enterprise project structure come into action. Scalability, Primavera P6 is designed to manage complex and simple and complex projects. Integration, we can use this software to integrate project schedules, especially we are working in a program environment. Um, then multi-user collaboration, Primavera P6 supports multi-user interfaces, and many people can use the software at the same time with having a common database kind of. And also, last but not least, is the reporting and analytics capabilities. And Primavera has its own uh, features for robust reporting and analytics capabilities. Yeah, and we can generate a variety of reports and dashboards to track project progress, analyze performance metrics, and make uh, some key informative decisions. So that's all about Primavera P6, and so it just with this uh, lesson today, just I was giving just a bit of a introduction about what is Primavera and what is uh, what you need before you come to this stage. I hope you got some idea about uh, how this planning and scheduling process works simultaneously, and what are what are your requirements and what are your understanding and other essential um, parameters that you should know before you go and create your project, your project program, your baseline program. Or yeah, so that's all for today, and I hope you enjoy the video, and uh, talk to you in my next video. And that's where we're gonna start creating our real actual project schedule by using Primavera P6 step by step. All right, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching the video. And if you like this, and um, if you know that you learned something, please subscribe and like this video. All right, have a wonderful time then. Okay, thanks. Bye.